All right, today, guys, I'm going to be talking about the NFC East schedule for every team. It's going to be as least biased as I could put it. I'm probably going to be more biased than anything towards Dallas, but we're going to see how this goes. And I'm also putting this all into perspective. Let's assume that, none of the teams are going to have injury problems or holdouts. Let's just assume the team we're starting off from point one. They're healthy and everything. Besides, the Giants, receiver Corey Coleman being out for the season. I'm going to assume Trent Williams comes back for the Redskins and Eric Flowers goes to guard instead of starting at tackle. Because if they start Eric Flowers at tackle, they're going to be really hurt. But anyways, we're going to start off with the Cowboys. And I'm putting these in depth. I got all 14 schedules pulled up off of NFL.com, where it's going to be, what time the games are, whether they're prime time or not. So the first game for Dallas is they play New York at home. I think this is going to be a pretty easy dub for Dallas. It should be, but then again, it's a division game. I still believe they'll win this game, especially after hearing Corey Coleman tearing his ACL, because he could have been a nice little set for Eli, because, Eli's been kind of rough the last few seasons, but as long as he has, a prime-time wideout, it's all about that prime wideout he has that really helps. But I believe they're going to get the W against the Giants in Dallas. They are 9-1 against them in season opener, so. And then the next week they go play at Washington. And with them playing at Washington, it really is going to depend if Dwayne Haskins is balling from day one. Now, if he balls out week one and comes in there week two, maybe hot, it's going to be an interesting matchup. But in reality, I see Dallas getting another W there at Washington. Maybe later in the season he might have a shot, but I don't know. I'm not 100% on it. And then they played the Dolphins at 12 o'clock the next week. Dolphins, that's another team, a rebuilding team. I don't think they have enough to, beat Dallas. In all honesty, now they may put a little bit of fight up in the first half, but I think in the second half they're going to wear down. And plus, Robert Quinn was playing for the Dolphins last year. He's going to want to be going hard at them now. Because he's playing against Miami. He knows that team. And then we come to the next week on September 29th. I believe it's a Sunday night game. It's either Sunday. Yeah, that's a Sunday night game against New Orleans at New Orleans. I'm going to give New Orleans the W. Hate to say it. I'm going to give them the W for now just because I'm being non-biased. On my biased self, I think we can beat the Saints in New Orleans because we proved that last year. They were talking all that mess and Dallas came in hot and shut Drew Brees and company down and ended up winning 13-10. But I'm going to give them the win this year because I know they're going to be mad about the game last year. All right, now we got going into October 6th, which is week 5, against the Packers. And now against the Packers, it's going to be an interesting game. But I think them coming off a loss to New Orleans, they're going to go back home and play against the Packers. Now, if it was in Green Bay, there's no doubt in my mind I'd give the W to Aaron Rodgers because I believe he's still going to be healthy by week 5. So I'm going to give the dub to Dallas for the simple fact is Dak has a lot to prove this year too. And I believe he's going to prove to a lot of people what he actually can do. All right, now we go into week 6 in the Meadowlands at the Jets. Now that's going to be an interesting game. I'm very skeptical about the Jets right now. I'm not 100% on the whole Jets bandwagon like a lot of people are. Because I'm around on a bunch of trash talking page. There are some trolls on there, but I'm also looking at the people that are kind of logical way they're thinking. And the Jets could be one of those underrated teams that people aren't really paying attention to. Could be really good. But Le'Veon Bell's got to perform. He's got to show that he ain't missed a step since he left Pittsburgh. Now, if he comes back and hasn't left a step and gets even better, that Jets team's going to be pretty good to watch. But as of right now, I'm going to give Dallas the W and the Jets. So that puts them at 1, 2, 3, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. Go into week 7 against Philly in Dallas. Now, a lot of people are going to look at me like this craziness, but Philly's going to come to Dallas, and I know Carson Wentz has a lot to prove. If he's still healthy by then, I believe this is weird. I've noticed this trend sometimes happens when they play the Eagles. Sometimes they beat each other at each other's home. And I believe that's what's going to happen this year, especially after we swept them last year. So I believe the Eagles are going to take that win. So that'll put us at 1, 2, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. 5 and 2 going into bye week. Then they go into the bye week, come out of the bye week at New York, which is a nice game for them. They're coming off a loss to Philly. So that's going to put them at 6 and 2. And then they play and that Giants is also a Sunday night game. So, I mean, and that's another thing with the Philly game. It's a Sunday night game, too. Which Carson Wentz hasn't proved anything to me on Sunday night games. And that's another interesting reason I want to go with Dallas. But I think this is one of those years where we beat each other at each other's homes. That's right now what I'm thinking. All right, so then they go into at Giants on, no, that's actually a Monday night game because it's on ESPN. It's a Monday night game at the Giants. And I believe with them getting that much time to prepare for them, they should have an easy W. And then we're going into, what is that, a Sunday night? Sunday, because it's 6 days away. Yeah, another Sunday night game against Minnesota. Now, this one will be very interesting. But Dak doesn't lose to Kirk Cousins. That's the thing. I just don't see Dallas losing to Kirk Cousins. But it really depends how Minnesota plays this year. Minnesota has always been a very skeptical team to me. I think they were a better team with, who did they have? They had Teddy Bridgewater. I wish they would have gave him another shot instead of, going for Kirk Cousins. I thought that was a terrible mistake. But Kirk Cousins has a lot to prove as well. We'll see what he can do with the Vikings as well. But I'm going to give Dallas the W there. And then they go the next week against Detroit, a 12 o'clock game at Detroit. The Detroit-Dallas game is going to be very interesting. It's really going to depend if Stafford can pass on Dallas's secondary and if he doesn't get swallowed up by the D-line and by our front seven completely. In general, I'm you know what? Nah, I can't give them a loss at the Lions. I just don't see the Lions beating them in general. So I'm going to give Dallas that win at Detroit. So that puts them at, let's see, I had them 5 and 2, 6 and 2, 7 and 2, 8 and 2 going to Foxborough. Now the at Foxborough game, I can't give my Cowboys a W because if I give them a W, I'm going to look so bad. All right, so I'm going to go and give Tom Brady that W and give us the L. So that'll put us at 8 and 3 going into the final stretch, the final 5-game stretch. So that puts them at 8 and 3 to go and play the Bills. I think that's a Thanksgiving game, I believe. It's either them or the Patriots are the Thanksgiving game. I think it's the Bills. That's who they play on Thanksgiving. Dallas doesn't lose hardly on Thanksgiving, so I'm not going to. Bills, great team they're building right now. And my boy Cole Beasley, I miss you, but you went the wrong direction, my son. You need to, Bills are a nice team for the future, but right now they're not going to get that W against Dallas in Dallas on Thanksgiving. There's only very few teams that can do that, and one of those teams is the Redskins, and that was when they were, that was when they had RG3, and Philly would be able to do it as well if they played them on Thanksgiving. Those are about the only two teams that have a shot against Dallas ever on Thanksgiving. And then after they played the Bills, so that would put them at 9 and 3, I believe, so I have them losing to the Patriots, Eagles, and Saints, yeah. So that's 3 losses on the year. So then they go into Chicago in December. And with them going into Chicago in December, their defense is going to be swarming. I know it is. Their offense is the only skeptical thing, but I believe they're probably going to go into Chicago and lose. Those are simple facts. It's December. Dallas sometimes isn't playing good in those kind of climates. But I'm going to give Chicago the win, so that puts Dallas at 9 and 4. Yeah, 9 and 4. Then they go play the Rams December 15th in Dallas. Dallas is coming back with a vengeance after the playoffs last year after losing by I think it was like 7 or 8. And I believe they're going to go in there and get that W for, just because they need that revenge. So that'll put them at 10-4. They finished the season at Philly and against Washington. And I must say they beat Philly, like I said. I think they're going to split this year. So I'm going to say they win that, and then they lose to the Redskins because they rest their starters because they already clinched a playoff spot. They either clinch a wild card spot or they clinch the division. I got to look at the Eagles' schedule before I make that decision. So I have them losing to the Redskins once, Eagles once, Bears, Patriots, Saints. So I have them with 5 losses. I believe they'll have 5 or 6 losses. So I believe they'll go either 10-6 or 11-5. And that's good enough to win the division, but I believe the ceiling for this season is 13-3. The low of this season, if I see them have a low season, I believe it'll be 8-8. But in all opinionated, I think they'll end up finishing 10-6. 10-6 is good enough to make the playoffs and maybe win the division or maybe just get a wild card spot. Either way, I think Dak's poised to have a really good year this year. All right, so this is part 1 of it. I'm about to get on with the other teams because I'm really breaking down these. I'm really going to break down these schedules and everything. And then once the season comes, I'm really going to break down the main games I'm watching or keeping up with. Because more than likely I'll be working during the season, and when the games are on, I'll be happy if I get a Sunday off, but more than likely I'll be working on Sundays. So I'm going to have to listen to it on the radio or just kind of go back for my phone and watch the highlights. But I'm still going to break it down for everything, for all y'all and everything, once I get the technology right to get a laptop, a nice laptop and everything, get everything set up.